When we practice Zazen, our mind always follows our breathing. When we inhale, the air comes into the inner world. When we exhale, the air goes out to the outer world. The inner world is limitless, and the outer world is also limitless. We say inner world or outer world, but actually there is just one whole world. In this limitless world, our throat is like a swinging door. The air comes in and goes out like someone passing through a swinging door. If you think I breathe, the I is extra. There is no you to say I. What we call I is just a swinging door which moves when we inhale and when we exhale. It just moves. That is all. When your mind is pure and calm enough to follow this movement, there is nothing. No I, no world, no mind, nor body, just a swinging door. Each one of us is in the midst of myriads of worlds. You are in the center of the world always, moment after moment. We are completely dependent and independent. Just a swinging door. And goes out like someone passing through a swinging door. When your mind is pure and calm enough to follow this movement, there is nothing. No I, no world, no mind nor body. Just a swinging door. First, gratitude to Debbie and Beth and Ellen for talking about sanctuary last week. I was at the Trinity River and it's cold. It's really cold river. Felt good. So we are now, well, let's see. Let me do the others. Some of you know, well, it was sent out to the whole Sangha. Barbara Spain's memorial, her celebration of life is August 2nd, and they're hoping that people will RSVP so they know how many people are coming. Way-seeking mind talks. I sent out an email. I said, I want to give a way-seeking mind talk. And I'm just shocked not many people answered me. So this could be voluntary or this could be walk the plank. No. It's actually, let me just, I mean, it's completely up to you. But it's scary, obviously, because not many people answered. Some people did. But that's part of the practice is you just say yes, and then you obsess about it. I'm It's true, you do. But there's something that happens in it because most of our stories about our lives are, well, this happened and then that happened, and this was good and this was bad. And but when you sit down with it in the center from the place of practice, uh, the story begins to turn and open. And I, my experience is that each person's way-seeking mind is everybody's way-seeking mind. It's just the details are a little different. But we've all been on the path forever. You just don't recognize it. And then all of a sudden you realize, wow, at 6 years old, I was asking those kind of questions. It's like whatever it was or not. So they're about 20 minutes. Someone is there to mirror you and reflect you. The Sangha this is the most non-judgmental Sangha that, I mean, it's just everybody just loves you. Oh, Patricia didn't get one. You're invited, Patricia, right to me. Uh, I'm talking about way-seeking mind talks, Roger. And the Sangha just gets closer. It's like we do the Dharma, we talk together in small groups, which nobody, I mean, but in my day in Zen, nobody talked to anybody about anything. Just the whole thing was like you just sit there and you look at the ground. You look at the ground, you look at the ground for hours and you but this is you really just get to, I mean, it's like, who are you? It's like, where were you born? Where did you come from? It's like it's a really sweet way to just an opportunity to just share a little picture of our lives together. Um, so if you are inspired, just send me a little email and say, yes, I will. And if you're not inspired, that of course is fine. And I'll ask you again next year. And if you don't do it next year, I'll. But it's a sweet thing to offer to each other. Pepperwood. So Pepperwood, as you know, I'm just going to reiterate, and it's going to go out. We're going to send out an email probably tomorrow. The sesshin that begins on Friday and ends at the end of Jukai on Sunday is the sesshin portion itself, which is mostly all day Saturday, is full and closed. There's a waiting list. There's because some people wanted to be commuters starting at 10 o'clock on Sunday. This will all be in the email. People are invited to come from 10 to 12:30. We're serving lunch. You can come and have lunch. We have a cap at 25, so I imagine this is going to fill up pretty fast. And then it's staying for Jukai. And then the third option, which we'll also be sending out, is the just not just, but to simply come for the Jukai, which is 2:30 on Sunday, and it will be in a really beautiful oak grove. So but you'll get all of that, but that's just in case you were wondering. Okay. Okay. Suzuki Roshi. So I'm leaving on Sunday, flying to Utah, Salt Lake City, because my husband's doing a conference there. But then we're going to go into the mountains. I'm going to meet up with him. We're going to go into the mountains, and then we're going to go into the desert and just take some weeks to wander around. So during that time, the Sangha is going to focus on Zen mind, beginner's mind, and we have a lineup of some amazing Dharma Heart Zen practitioners who are going to be giving talks. So don't miss it. But that's what I'm going to do today and Thursday to get us going. And I thought, it's like, who's Suzuki? We say Suzuki Roshi, Suzuki Roshi. But I thought it would be just nice to spend a little bit of time talking about Suzuki Roshi and who he was. Uh, Let me say, because I have this at the very top and I might forget, Suzuki Roshi's son is Uitsu. Suzuki Roshi died. One of his Dharma heirs is his son, Uitsu, who runs the family temple now in Japan. And he's also he was elected to some position at Aheiji, which is the chief, one of the two top Soto Zen temples in Japan. it's really respected. And he just, Zen Center just sent something out that he was elected the vice abbot of Aheji. So that's a position of real power and responsibility and respect. So it's we're in a lineages matter, not because it's any guarantee that everything's going to be okay and people aren't going to make mistakes, but that in general, it, there's a flavor. It's called family style. There's a flavor to Suzuki Roshi's lineage, and it's really trusted and respected all over the world. And the fact that Weitsu was elected vice abbot at Heiji is, I'm kind of amazed that he would want to do it, one. And two, I'll just tell you one story about Weitsu because it's a story that stays in my heart. So I was at a Heiji. And it's a training temple for young men, and they're all dressed up in their brown robes because they're usually the first son, and they've all inherited their temple from their father, and it's passed down, and then they have to go and get trained, and they just do these. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it in America in terms of their forms and when they're in the Buddha hall and there's this drum boom 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 and they're just in lockstep and they're all like this and I mean it's very beautiful but it's like thank you very much I'm glad you're happy but Weitsu was there in his elected position and he's much smaller than most they must grow much bigger in Japan now. And while they're all walking around really stiff and upright, I mean, that's their training. Because he's sort of like graduated, I would imagine. He's just walking along like this. And I just thought, that's it. I mean, it's like the thing is you have to put your snake in the bamboo tube, it's called. It's like there's training. There's an uprightness to it. But what comes out of it is you're just free. And it was so beautiful he just felt like a kind of happy, free, upright, kind, enormously compassionate human being. That's the fruit of the practice. That's my commentary on it. But now so I found, and this is by by Norman Fisher about Suzuki Roshi's Way. And it's something I had in my files. And he wrote this a long time ago. He wrote it when David Chadwick's book, his biography about Suzuki Roshi, was just coming out. So who knows what Norman would say now. And I would recommend, Crooked Cucumber by David Chadwick just came out, biography of Suzuki Roshi. If you ever want to read it, it's thick. David did an amazing job, but it's good reading. It might even be good summer reading. Who knows? So who knows what Norman would say now? But I thought, oh, this is good skeleton to sort of hang it on, and then we'll see what over this course of time, like how it turns in you and what feels like Suzuki Roshi's wisdom and why is this little book is the best-selling book on Buddhism in the history of the West, and it's been translated into many languages. So what is it about this teaching and this person that we feel so willing to entrust ourselves to and to be curious about? Norman says it's pretty simple and down to earth. And the amazing thing is I don't know how many times how many times I've read this book, how many times have you read this book? It's like this book has been around forever. And every time I read it, it's like something else opens up inside of it. And I also realize how deeply studied he was. It sounds simple and down to earth, but Suzuki Roshi was trained. He knows Dogen. He knows Buddhism. All of this simplicity is coming out of a really deep penetration. Okay. Norman says it's a way of life and a deeply held attitude or feeling about life. Buddhism is really one teaching. But because people are always different, there must be different forms of expression of the Buddhist truth. In every country that Buddhism has visited, there are always people who eventually Probably without trying to find it, find an expression of Buddhism that speaks to the particular cultural condition that formed them. Such people do not create a new Buddhism. They just find a way to make clear in a different way that Buddhism, what Buddhism has been saying all along. So we are just babies. We are in the very, very beginning of Buddhism in the West. And it's clear it's more psychological. There's more emotion in it. And we're probably going to sometimes lean a little too far and sometimes a little too far this way. But I just, whenever I think, what are we doing? Or what, mostly it's what are they doing? What are they doing? is we're babies. And the purpose of all of it is to just find our own way, to wake up and find out what it is through this body and through this culture. We're not a bad, but how do you do it without throwing the baby out with the bathwater? That's always the question. Suzuki Roshi's way of Zen is the same as and also different from other styles of Chinese and Japanese Zen, and also the same as and different from Dogen Zen. So it's different from, I mean, we hold up Dogen as a standard, but Suzuki Roshi knew Dogen well enough to be able to jump off of it. That's our job, to sit and to have enough trust and faith to study and practice, because we do here, we try to do things that are more not always deep dives, but it's important to do deep dives, because if you don't do some deep dives, then you don't know what you're jumping off from. So Norman said he came up with 8 characteristics of Suzuki Roshi's way. Want to know what they are? Mm-hmm. I love it when you said this is so much fun. I love this. They all went, do you want that? Okay. First one, no expectations. Norman comments, most people come to Buddhist practice with great expectations. I mean, what did you come with? Back in the day when I came, a lot of people came because they thought they were going to get enlightened. I don't know if that happens so much. And we were all, most of us were really disappointed. And a lot of people left very, very disappointed. Or that you're going to have some big spiritual experience. Some people do have big spiritual experiences. I really like to say I have never had a big spiritual experience. And I'm actually quite proud of it. But I'm way more awake and kind, and world touches me more deeply, and things penetrate. I mean, my whole life is an spiritual experience. And plus, Suzuki Roshi would always, when people would come to him and say, I had this big experience, he'd sit, I mean, this is a story, he'd sit there and say, and then he'd hand you the broom and say, now just go sweep the walk. It's like, don't get all wrapped. It's just one more thing to get all excited about. But I think this is wonderful. Norman says our expectations are good. We're fresh. That's why Suzuki Roshi came here. Because if you go to Japan, most temples are not functioning and most people are not practicing in the way that we now practice with such enthusiasm in the West. Uh, Suzuki Roshi came here because I mean, he came in the midst of like the 60s and 70s. People were outrageous. I mean, some of us remember, and he liked that because people were alive and curious. That's part of why he came. Since being a child, Suzuki Roshi wanted to come to the West to practice with people who had a fresh, expectant mind. That's all. That's all you need. Naturally, then, he taught us non-expectation and non-hope. The strong point about expectation is that it produces energy and enthusiasm. I never thought about that before. If you expect something, then your energy starts to rise. It's like, what's going to happen? What is this? I'm here. Then you get here and you get bored, and then you think, well, that was dull. No. But the weak point of expectation is that it leads to grasping and attachment and distraction. That's what we usually think. What is actually true is that this moment arises now independent of anything, and everything is included in this moment. Buddha and self are here, and problem and no problem are here. So we use expectation to go beyond expectation. Maybe we can say that having no expectation means that we always have expectation, but that we are expecting what we are expecting is nothing. You just bow and you do see what happens next. But there's some good stories in here. That's part of why I wanted to do this. Suzuki Roshi said, the problems that you have now, you will always have. The problems that you have now, you will always have. Would you like to leave now? He also said at another time, I have found it necessary to believe in absolutely nothing. But that's not nihilism. It's really, really important. We're not talking about nihilism. We're talking about a deep, groundless ground, just a readiness of not knowing. Okay, that's number one, no expectations. Two, faithful daily practice is enlightenment. Dogen and Suzuki Roshi called it practice enlightenment. It's like you're not practicing to become enlightened or to become a Buddha. The very fact that you are practicing means that you are already a Buddha. Suzuki Roshi came to San Francisco in 1959 to be the priest for the local Japanese American community at Suzuki Temple. He did not take San Francisco by storm. There were no posters, no news articles, no high-profile retreats. Realize what's happened. I mean, in my lifetime, what's happened? I mean, I get magazine, I get Shambhala, and I'm sort of shocked at it's. I mean, we've become glossy. And on the other hand, there's a whole spectrum of people that don't know anything about Buddhism, but a lot more people know about Buddhism than they did when I started practicing, trust me. Instead, he did Zazen by himself in the mornings. This is a story that's always encouraged me. And if someone came and asked him about Zen, he just said, I sit in the morning, please come join me. That's what he did. That's what he did. I always figured I'm just going to sit here. And then you all showed up. But if you didn't show up, I'd probably be sitting here anyway. One of my personal stories, my husband, when he first came, he came a little before me, and Suzuki Roshi was still alive, but then he left. But anyway, but he walked up to Suzuki Roshi and he said, can I ask you a question? Suzuki Roshi said, no. Probably why he left, but he did come back. So, it's like this whole thing of like, explain to me why we do this. I mean, sometimes there's an explanation, but mostly it's like, just do it and it'll either become clear and maybe there's an answer, but you're just going to get all tangled up in yourself thinking you know what you're doing and what's going on. It's more just like, just give yourself to it. His practice was the practice of a simple priest, full of faithfulness and sincerity. He uses the word sincerity a lot. I really trust that. He often spoke of how stupid he was, of how his understanding wasn't so good. He said that when he was a small boy in his teacher's temple, all the other students ran away because the teacher was so tough. He said it was the only one who didn't run away, not because he was so good or so strong, but because he was the only one who didn't realize that he could run away. I just trust these kind of simple, humble stories. He just went on with the practice every day, no matter what happened for his whole life. And in his teaching, he emphasized that kind of steadiness and faithfulness, not to any ideal or philosophy or belief. Suzuki Roshi grew up in World War II Japan, and I think he really saw you believe in something and start doing that kind of stuff that we're doing now is like you're not going anyplace but to hell. I mean, not literally, but that's what just came out of my mouth. He emphasized routine and repetition. He taught that just doing the practice over and over again without expectation of any result, but being as present as possible with it, something subtle would happen. He just stayed around the temple taking care of things and of his practice. It's so simple. It's like, well, just show me something special to do. I mean, we all want to do something special. And now, and Norman laughs about this, is you don't get any certificate. I mean, you can go off You can go off. I mean, you go off and you get this certificate that you're this kind of a teacher or that kind of a teacher. I mean, it's like it's all fine, but you don't get any certificate. I mean, you get one of these maybe, but all this does is mix you up even more. So there, I mean, I'm saying that a little. He was in a way a very ambitious priest. If he were not, he would never have come to America. But his ambition was not to do great things, but just to have great hope and a great faithfulness and to bring that to his practice every day, confident that what needed to happen would unfold naturally without forcing. Thinking the Jizo project is a perfect example of that. You just say yes and you just take care of what's in front of you and then you see what happens next. He once said that practice is like walking for a long time in a slight mist. You might walk and never feel that you're getting anywhere, but when you arrive at where you are going, you will notice that your robe is soaked. He also said, if we walk in the mist together and you get impatient with me and want to go ahead, that is all right. Please go ahead. That makes me cry. There's the growing faith that life is life and death is death, and that we are always in connection with it. It's a moment-to-moment experience of faithfulness, and that enlightenment is everywhere. Just to be alive is enough. It's one of Suzuki Roshi's sayings. It's one of my favorites. Just to be alive is enough. Whenever I'm feeling grumpy or dissatisfied, that's one of the ones I come up with. Just to be alive is enough. And if it's grumpy, then just be grumpy. It's just. Okay, number 3, not sticking to any teaching. This is all really discouraging. If you, I'm not going to tell you anything today. And that's what's great is we're going to spend the next few weeks and everybody's going to come and read you something and we're going to study it. And I hope you learn something and I hope you unlearn a whole lot. I think sometimes if you read Suzuki Roshi's words and think about what he is saying to us, you might think that he is rather wishy-washy. He often will take a definitive position about things, or if he does, he will soon say that the opposite is also true. He often used the phrase the other side, and Sojin Roshi did that too. Look at one way to look at things, that's one kind of truth, and there's also the other side, the other way to look at it. Interesting, huh? Then how do you do anything? Don't you just sit around being wishy-washy? I think this is a really important question. It's like, well, yeah, whatever. Okay. Suzuki Roshi understood the idea of non-dualistic not as a philosophical concept, but as a way of being. He understood it as freedom, as not being caught by anything, not being limited by views, even Buddhist views or Zen views. Don't get yourself all wrapped up in being a Buddhist and thinking you know something. Practice is beyond all views. It includes all views and honors all views, but it doesn't stick to any views. So he was always interested in pointing out to people the nature of their sticky views and encouraging them to unstick themselves from it. Sorry, that's what came to me. I couldn't help myself. We all got them, right? There is one story about Suzuki Roshi. Maybe you've heard this story, but it's okay. I never get tired of this story. Maybe you will. There is one famous story about Suzuki Roshi driving up to the city from Tassajara with a student who was an ardent vegetarian. In those days, people had some quite definitive ideas about what was right and what was wrong to eat. There were food wars at Tassajara. And what was good for you or not good for you. This is serious. There were and Ed Brown was at the center of most of them. And we all know how calm Ed Brown is. No, I went on vacation. See, this is just when Suzuki Roshi and the student stopped at a restaurant for lunch, the student was quite surprised and challenged by the fact that Suzuki Roshi ordered a big hamburger, probably rare. The student ordered a salad or something like that. But the student was even more surprised when the food came and Suzuki Roshi took the salad for himself and pushed the burger plate without a word in front of the student. What do you do? This is like a great koan. What do you do? I do not think that this meant that Suzuki Roshi disapproved of vegetarianism. It was not any particular view that he was against or for. Rather, how do you hold the views that you hold? This was the question for him. To practice the way is to be present in each moment, which is beyond time. Suzuki Roshi spoke of this over and over again. When you hold on to views, any views, you create a fixed world, a world of linear time, a world of suffering and opposition. When your practice is faithful, you stay firmly in the middle of your own life. That's to me what we practice in Zazen. Just here, just this. It's visceral. You can feel it. Somebody said to me today, she practiced for years and years and years. I mean, I love this person and really dedicated practitioner. And now she says, I don't sit zazen anymore. She just lives her life. And I really respect that that's her practice. But then she just went down to Tassajara again for the very first time after decades. And she said, I was so surprised. I sat down in the Zendo and it was right there. It just never goes away. I mean, if you practice, once you know this in your body, it's just right here. It's my experience. I'm just always amazed. I'm the one who wanders around and thinks it's whatever I think. Standing in that place, truth is clear, it is not confusing, and you become very flexible with a feeling for life. And Suzuki Roshi's one of his favorite questions, what is the essence of Zen? And he said, not necessarily so. Can I read you the story? This is a longer story. Maybe I shouldn't, but I kind of wanted to read it anyway. I think we're going to try to put it in the newsletter on the site or something, but it's a great story. Can I read it?
Yeah.
Well, this incident became a turning point in Suzuki Roshi's life. I thought, how can I stop this? I mean, how can I? In Crooked Cucumber, David Chadwick's biography of Suzuki Roshi tells the story of Suzuki Roshi and Miss Ransom. Nona Ransom was a headstrong English woman for whom Suzuki Roshi was houseboy. When he was a student at Komazawa University, she was a delightful woman, very sure of her opinions and her English worldview, and very critical of the Japanese way of looking at things. As a good rationalist and a good liberal Christian, she considered Buddhism to be an odd, picturesque view of Asian superstition. Miss Ransom had a Buddha statue in her home, which she kept as a work of art. She put her shoes next to it in the tokonoma, which is like a little indentation altar place. And this careless disrespect bothered the young Suzuki Roshi. But he knew that, very un-Japanese, but he knew that it wasn't going to do any good to argue with Miss Ransom about it. I feel this way with my partner a lot. Like it's not going to do any good to argue. And so I keep moving his shoes to the right place. And he keeps moving them right back to what he said. I mean, we're just doing this stuff all the time. I'm confessing. So he began one day to make offerings to the Buddha. He said nothing, only every day at a certain time he'd offer tea and a flower to the Buddha, making formal bows, and Miss Ransom was of course quite bothered by this, but Suzuki Roshi would just do it without any explanation every day. Eventually, she grew up. Did I miss anything? Yeah. So eventually, she blew up at him, demanding an explanation, and he explained to her why Buddhist practitioners make offerings to the Buddha. After that, she changed her attitude and began to be interested in Buddhism, and eventually, she practiced it. So he just did it. He didn't give long explanations. He didn't give lectures. He didn't say, "What's the matter with you? Do you not?" He just did it. She blew up at him. So maybe he was a little edgy about it, or maybe he was just, I want to believe he was just doing it and she didn't understand it. This incident became a turning point in Suzuki Roshi's life. He realized that it was not enough to explain something, but rather it was necessary to do something and to do it with constancy and faith. Then perhaps if there was an explanation, it might be worthwhile. So Zen is just direct action. It's like you don't talk about it. Don't think you're smart and got it all figured out. Just live it. Have your mind and heart and body aligned. When we do Zazen, we try to have breath and posture and attitude and thought all aligned into one whole. Zazen is the teach. It's the embodiment. It's the teaching. Okay, number 4. Zazen is the most important thing in our practice. True Zazen is our whole life. Suzuki, Roshi, and Dogen emphasize Zazen practice. Shakyamuni Buddha sat Zazen under a tree. So sitting is part of our practice, but I appreciate this a lot. Norman says, and I agree. Doesn't it sound, what happens if people can't twist their legs up in pretzels and sit? Can they still practice Zen? No. I mean, still, you have to, Tassajara, say to people, can you bring in some chairs? I mean, we're working on it. We're a lot better than we used to be. Once Suzuki Roshi scolded someone who had a superior attitude because he woke up early every morning to do Zazen while his wife remained in bed. He told him, if you think that you are getting up to do Zazen and your wife is sleeping and not doing Zazen, then you do not really understand our Zazen. True Zazen is not limited to a particular posture or state of mind. True Zazen is ultimate reality itself, and ultimate reality is the actual essence of every moment of our lives. To sit faithfully is to realize this point. It is the whole universe. We actually have to sit Zazen to wake up to this. You can sit in a chair, you can sit laying down. Thich Nhat Hanh opened up everything when he came because his emphasis is on walking meditation. We have to understand also Zazen is not actually Zazen. It is just our life. Our practice is life. When you know Zazen in your body, you can grocery store line, in the car. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm there all the time by any means, but I know the still point that I can come back to. Boop. Okay. Yeah, well, what about that guy that just coming up? Nope, just come back. I mean, it's practice. It's continuous practice. This is continuous practice. Okay, 5. Kindness and toughness are not two different things. Kindness and toughness are not two different things. This one feels really important because Suzuki Roshi people loved him. He was so kind and they really felt his kindness and his absolute acceptance of everybody. And he also was tough. He had an upright spine. You can't do this practice without some kind of strength. It's you go do something else. I just think that's the way this, and it attracts certain kind of people. Not everybody needs to do this. Human life requires a great strength. You don't know that yet? That's what these times are teaching us. But in this strength is the truest kindness. For strength brings constancy, and a real kindness is not an emotion or a feeling, but the ability to see clearly and follow through, and this requires great strength. There is no effective kindness without strength. Otherwise, it's just like making nice, right? I want you to like me, or I'm scared to say what's really going on. Suzuki Roshi was much loved for his kindness, and he did not consider himself to be a strict teacher, but he understood the virtue of strictness, and there was a strong backbone in the middle of his kindness. He was not sweet or sentimental. That's part of what, because we're going to do a sesshin. Sesshins aren't easy. You find some strength in the center of it. And you get there and you think, wow, this is great. And then you're sitting there and you think, who thought this was a good idea? And who's going to ring the bell? And what a really, and then you think, and then after a while you go, wow, it's the same world and it's different. But You said, okay, six, a close and loving relationship with the teacher. So, um, Norman wrote an essay, which I haven't read for a long time, called No Teacher of Zen. I think this tradition, like, it's like a teacher is not a guru. Nobody's going to fix you. Nobody's going to solve it for you. Uh, this isn't said, but I would say it as a therapist. A teacher, like anything, is a great thing to project on. All the positive. It's like, wow, what a great person. She bet why she's so dedicated. It's also great until you run into something that bugs you, and then you think, wow. So you just kind of know that, it's like that's part of what's going on. But you can't do it by yourself because you have to be in relationship with yourself. Because how else are you going to find out all the squirrely things that are and all your hopes and fears and dreams unless you have some and all I mean, since I seem to be like sitting in this seat, all I try to do is sit here and be steady. That's all. And when I'm not, I just go out and run around in circles and then I come sit down and say, no, this is what we're all trying to do. When a teacher throws his or her life into Buddha's house, and when we make that effort too, then we meet each other in Buddha's house. We ourselves find trust in our Buddha nature through the relationship to the teacher. So I would say for me at this point, other people have helped me just kind of trust this practice and trust myself that's a no self that this is a transformative practice. And I'm the same old person and I'm just as confused as I ever was, but I'm also something's different. So I think that's all it is we just help each other realize you can't figure it out. You just live it and we live it and wake up together. 7, wholeheartedness in all activity. Suzuki Roshi often spoke of the nature of time, that it is not an unfolding of things in a linear or accumulative way, but rather the depth and completion that occurs in each moment. Sincerity uses that word a lot. And I really think a lot. And the question to see one thing all the way through. What is that? What is that to see one thing all the way through? There's some quality in that I helps me to ask the question. Zazen is the center of our practice, but Zazen is just being ourself, and being ourself is being present throughout the whole universe on each moment. That is why everything that happens, every activity we are engaged in is decisive and complete. We try to pay attention to our preferences without validating them. We see that all our activity is a field of profundity, that any gesture or effort can bring up the whole of reality. And it's why work is stressed in this practice, work practice. One more Suzuki Roshi story. There is a famous story of him arriving early at the Cambridge Buddhist Association where he was to give a talk. Everyone was busily cleaning up the place for the arrival of the great Zen master Suzuki Roshi. Do you know the story? Mm-hmm. But after he arrived several hours early by mistake and everyone was quite flustered, he said, "Oh, the great Zen master is coming. We must prepare." And he stripped down to his kimono and began cleaning with everyone. Norman says, for me, cleaning practice is very important. Cleaning was something I never really thought about. But I learned from my practice that when I sweep the floor, I am actually sweeping my own mind and the whole universe. If I can put one corner of my room in order, then whole worlds come to order. One of the reasons I came to Zen is there pictures. Have you ever seen the smiling monk sweeping? I mean, and I thought that's what I want. It was so simple. And then I got to Zen Center and I thought, nobody's smiling and this doesn't. Did I make a mistake? But fundamentally, it really is true. It's just like, just sweep the walk. Just take care of your life. Okay, and the last one. Careful attention to form is freedom. I just thought I should stop apologizing. If I'm going to give a characteristic of Suzuki Roshi, of course it's going to take a little bit of time. And thank you for being patient with me. Um, Suzuki Roshi said, he once said that when everyone wore clothes they liked and appeared with their own body language, it was difficult for him to see people's real individuality. But when everyone put on black robes and sat on their cushions in exactly the same way, then it became clear the ways in which each one was unique. This seems like a paradoxical Zen statement, but actually it is literally true. By letting go of preference, which is after all only habit and conditioning, our real, our deeper individuality, our own particular spin on Buddha nature can come through. It was this spirit that Suzuki Roshi stressed the importance. That's why he stressed the importance of form, of bowing correctly, of walking and standing with proper decorum, of following all the temple forms, from striking the bell to eating oriokis. He taught that we did this not because it was the absolute way of doing things, the best way, but because formal practice is a way for us to find a big openness inside, a truer freedom than our conditioning could ever produce. He was very patient, always amused by what people did. He laughed a lot. When you read his transcripts, it says that's got edited out of all these books, but if you read the transcripts, they all, there's a sentence, laughs. A few more sentences, laughs. He laughed a lot. That to me is very reassuring. So steadily and with a kindly voice, he encouraged people over and over. People seem to generally, I've never actually heard people say disparaging things about Suzuki Roshi, although I will tell you one more story and then we don't have any more time after that. Sorry. But my husband, so Huitsu, he was hard on his family. If you read his biography, um, it's that thing where the guy goes off and does the Zen master thing and leaves everybody and wasn't so good at taking care of his family. And there was stuff that happened. And I think he was anyway, Uitsu went by the Kaisando, which is the memorial hall to Suzuki Roshi, and we're all bowing. And I mean, I want to bow, but he saw Uitsu walk by once and go. So yeah, it was a father-son. I mean, father-son is just like you're not going to get out of that one. So he was human, as we all are. So maybe that will, as you hear people bring forward different chapters. Zen Mind Beginner's Mind was given, Palo Alto or something, and was given in somebody's living room to a group of women practitioners. And then Trudy Dixon edited it. I was trying to find a talk I gave about Trudy Dixon once. I'm still going to look for that again. She was amazing person. Somehow look at San Francisco Zen Center. Here we are. When you take vows, it's a family. There's a family. It is different. It's not better or worse. Maizumi Roshi and Rinzai has a certain flavor, and each tradition has a certain flavor. And there is something for me anyway that Suzuki Roshi feels like. I trust this. It feels kind, and it feels upright. But you didn't get to say anything. I sort of want you to say something, but then we'd run out of time. Just a swinging gate. I read you that chapter because that's one of my most favorite ones. I'm basically pretty simple-minded. I find simple little things that I can anchor in my body, and then I just stay with them. And I like to think about things, and it's fun to read the sutras, but I never read or studied in the beginning. In fact, you're really discouraged from doing that. It's like, because then you activate your whole intellectual mind. It's, just show up and just do what you're doing. Just practice. That's it. This is it. We're doing it. You're doing it. You're perfect just as you are. And you could use a little improvement. Okay. So, yes. So let's do the Bodhisattva vows and continue to live our lives. Hope that we do as little harm as possible, and maybe we'll do a little good if we're lucky. Beings are numberless.